Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today is the day, hopefully we can set the record straight, but I highly doubt it anyways, but it's worth a shot. So, tuning issues with guitars. Why is your guitar not staying in tune even a week after you grab it out of the case, off your stand, or your wall mount rack like what I have here behind us? Well, it's because wood moves and shifts all the time. Electric guitars, it doesn't matter if it's a hollow body, semi-hollow body, acoustic guitar, I don't care what kind of guitar it is. The wood moves and shifts all the freaking time. Even if it's a mandolin, a violin, any stringed instrument that's made out of wood, guess what? She's falling out of tune. And including that of an all-metal guitar too, can actually fall out of tune just sitting there. Okay? Except it's not so much a humidity issue with those, it's heat. Anyways, so let's assume your guitar is properly set up. Everything is in proper working order. Tuners, everything. You tune your guitar up. You play it. Sounds great. It's in tune, right? With whatever tuner you happen to tune it with. And then you put it away, and then you go grab it a couple hours later or a week later, and it's out of tune. Why? Well, because wood moves and shifts all the time. Hello? Most guitar players, and I do mean most, or being the majority of them, have no friggin' clue about guitars. All they know is how to play guitar. They play really well, obviously, okay, but they have no idea about wood shifting. They don't know about humidifying them, dehumidifying them, etc., which is why you see a lot of repairs happening, because people just aren't educated enough as a guitar player about everything that they should really know in order to keep their gear in top shape. But one thing is for certain, there's also a lot of BS on the internet about this subject of tuning, and there are YouTube channels, in fact, that will tell you, and I'm subbed to one of them because I like the guy, and you know, he does make a lot of sense on a lot of things, but when it comes to this whole tuning thing, he's right out to lunch as far as I'm concerned, okay? And a lot of other people will agree with that too, because of the fact that wood moves and shifts all the time. Your guitar, it is impossible for it to stay in proper tune all the time. Now, where you will notice this tuning issue the most is electric guitars. You will notice they're out of tune the most. Why? Well, we play them a lot harder, okay, than we do acoustics. Right, acoustics, there's not a whole lot of string bending action going on acoustics. Playing a lot of different chords all over the neck, that's fine, right? But they do fall out of tune, okay, even during playing. Just little bits here, little bits there, but not enough to really, you know, I mean, the crowd doesn't notice. But an electric guitar, oh my God, would they ever notice quick. Electric guitars are very, very sensitive and critical when it comes to their setups, more so than acoustics are, okay? And so when it comes to this tuning stability factor, they will actually be notable on how quickly they've fallen out of tune. Now, dropping a half step overnight can happen, and it still sounds like it's in tune even by a half step down. But if you get, depending on your temperature and humidity in your house, you may not go down a whole half step on all your strings. You may have some that actually tighten up because of the way the wood's moving. Strings will tighten up and they'll go a little higher in pitch. Some will be lower in pitch. Some of them will still be dead bang on, you know, at least as close as it gets in reality, because nothing is perfectly tuned. Okay, there's no such thing, and get this understood right now, there is no such thing as perfect pitch. It's a myth. Okay, it does not exist in the real world of reality, okay? The same thing as I've proven with tuners, how no two tuners, even the exact same one, I'll take a whole shipment of, you know, 1,000 or 10,000 of this tuner, this color, from the same batch made the same day, and none of these things will be 100% dead on one to the other, okay? It doesn't happen. Same as different tuners, period. A lot of people think, oh, all I need is a headstock tuner, and I'm good to go. No, you need a good headstock tuner, which means it has to have some good software in there. It has to be able to pick up vibration on a very sensitive level. And I like the snark tuners for that because they're really, really good. Okay, at least these new ones are. The older snark tuners, not only were they built really shitty and broke apart fast, but also the simple fact the software was very slow and very inaccurate. These so far are the most accurate ones, and I highly recommend them. Okay, and you can get them from any music store that carries snark tuners. Anyways, this is about $21 for the blue one and about $23, $24 for the red one. And the difference between them, other than color, is the red one actually has the option between vibration mode or mic mode. Okay, now personally, it's a clamp-on tuner. Why the hell they put a mic mode in there, I have no idea. It's kind of stupid, but because microphones don't pick up as well as the vibration does. So the vibration is actually a lot more accurate. But anyways, there are also, factors involved. But anyways, so these two tuners don't read the same either, right? I have an Ibanez tuner, I've got Joyo tuners, I got Fender tuners, I've got a Moon tuners, and none of them are as accurate as the other one. Okay, if I take one tuner, I take this, I tune everything with this. It says it's in tune, seems to sound like it's in tune. I take this tuner and check it. Boom. Well, something's out of whack. Put this one back on. Well, it's in. It's in. No, that's out. That's in. That's out. Huh? A tuner is not a tuner. Okay? In a band situation, another thing I'll agree with this guy too, is that in a band situation, you're playing a gig, right? You're playing professionally live, right? Or maybe you're just a new band getting started out. Either way, one tuner is all you bring with you to the gig, and everybody tunes their guitars or stringed instruments to this exact tuner. Otherwise, you will have an issue where people will be slightly out from you, okay? Or it could be more than slight, it could be a lot out, okay? So know your gear, right? Know how well a shape your gear is in too. So what else causes instability in tuning? Well, you can have too light a gauge of string, and I've experienced this. I've tried using lighter than 9s before, and I could never get those strings to stay in tune right with playing. Didn't matter if I played soft, I played hard, I did string bending, whacked out really fast. Always blamed it on the guitar. Turned out it was the strings. And then, of course, you can only retune so many times, and those strings would actually snap because they're so thin, right? So back to 9s we go for electrics, and I've always used 12s on acoustics. I thought about trying 11s out though, because 11s are just, one little difference, not a whole lot, but I might try out a set of 11s on acoustic sometime. But I've been accustomed to the 12s, for my whole life of playing, which has been, like, if you want an exact number, 34 and a half years. I've been actually playing guitar knowing what I'm doing, but I've owned guitars and tried to teach myself since I was yay out of a grasshopper, little tiny child. Okay, and I've over the years I've bought, sold, and traded hundreds of guitars. Okay, and amps and pedals and all kinds of gear. Okay. And I learned to work on my own guitars when I was about 16. I met up with a chap who was a Lutherie who used to build guitars from scratch, and he built some of the best guitars out there. I mean, he built guitars better than Gibson could do it. And he taught me a lot about guitars in the time period that I had with him before he passed away. And I have another friend who actually is a Lutherie who's taught me a few things. And the rest of it, I'm pretty much self-taught and learning off the internet. And, not everything on the internet, by the way, is true or should be even attempted because it's crap. So you got to kind of watch for that. Kind of like there will be the skeptics on this video saying, oh, he's full of crap. This guy and this guy and this guy, he's wrong. Okay, and that's fine, whatever. You can't make everybody happy, and you can't make a horse go to water and drink. You know what I mean? But I do tell it as it is, whether you want to believe it or not, I don't care. But if you have defective strings at the ball end, This has happened, and I've seen a lot of this come up on YouTube videos lately with a couple of different brands of strings. So the manufacturing process has gotten pretty slack, and so people are having strings fly off their guitars, and it's pissing them off, and it's a manufacturing issue that can happen. If you don't have enough winds around the post for the gauge of strings you're using, it can also make your string slip, and you'll know if it's the string slipping at the post because from lack of winds, because eventually it's just going to fly off. If it's a slipping post, it may not fly off, but it's going to be a real pain in the ass to keep trying to tune that thing, and it keeps getting pulled back on. Now, I have had a tuner issue come up once in all my years. I've had one guitar with one tuner issue with a slipping tuner, and it pissed me off, I was not a happy camper, because it wasn't a cheap guitar either. But it does happen. It can happen, right? So the other thing with acoustic guitars, you don't notice them as easily because of the way they're made, and their intonation is not as perfected as it is on an electric guitar and what it can be properly set up for. So the electric guitar is actually a lot more sensitive to noticeably hearing it out of tune, where an acoustic not so much. Any of my acoustics I could grab off the wall right now, and I can strum them, and you're going to hear that they sound in tune, okay? And if I put a tuner on them, you're going to see that there's a little bit of inconsistency. If I do a harmonic check, you're definitely going to hear an inconsistency, as well as the visual from the tuner. And the electrics, of course, well, they're going to do their own thing too, right? Wood moves and shifts all the time. The ideal humidity level is between 40 to 50% max for any guitar, acoustic or electric. Ideal temperature, I haven't found one yet that's actually ideal, but I struggle to keep this room under 26 degrees, just because it's the hottest room in the house, no matter what time of the year it is. And so I'm still working on trying to get it below 26, because it's just sitting in the room at that temperature drives me nuts. With the door closed. With it open, it doesn't matter, because then I can drop the temperature down, but I can't always have the door open in this room because of what I do in here with my music. I can't always have the door open, because otherwise I annoy my wife or whatever. Plus I like my own quiet time to myself, and so I have the door shut. But temperature and humidity are definitely critical factors, and even if you balance it out as best as possible, your guitar is still not staying in tune. Okay, it may sound like it's in tune, but when you check it, it's going to be plus or minus a few cents here and there. It could be even upwards to a half step difference, up and down the scale. And this is something that we all fight with, And anybody putting out videos saying that guitars can stay in tune almost indefinitely is full of crap. Just like strings lasting virtually forever. No, they don't. They should be changed if you're playing your guitar every day, and for even an hour a day every day, you should be changing your strings at least once every probably 2 or 3 months. But if they're still sounding good and they're still tuning stable really well when you do your initial tuning, then you could probably get away with it a little bit longer. Some guys haven't changed their strings in years, which I have a hard time swallowing that one, but hey, I guess, people are people. I usually change my strings, I don't know, electrics, I'd probably say about every 6 months. Acoustics, probably once a year. I change the strings on my acoustics. It just varies, because I also have the advantage where I have 7 guitars right now. And I had about 17 at the beginning of the summer, but I got rid of a lot of them, obviously. Same with a lot of amps. Because I'm constantly going through gear, because I'm trying to find the right sound, or I come across, I really got to have that. Let's make a swap, or I'll sell something to go and buy that thing, because it's like, I got to have that, and I don't have enough here. I can sell this, And it's called gear acquisition syndrome, which a lot of us go through. We got to have gear. Yeah, it's the tuning stability thing is bullshit. there's no such thing as any stringed instrument actually being able to hold its tune by just sitting there doing nothing. And we know that as we play them, they slowly fall out of tune while we're playing them, and that's why we need to, check our tuning every couple of songs. I will guarantee you this too, that if your guitar is not set up properly, you're gonna always have even normal tuning issues, period. Because even if your intonation is out by just a small amount, it's gonna wreak havoc. It's gonna cause problems, and this is stuff that comes, not set up right from the factory to begin with. My Sigma guitar, I've got a DR28L on the wall. It's my acoustic. That thing, the E, A, and D strings were actually sitting above the nut. They should be sitting flush with the nut slots, so that if you ran your finger across, you will not find any bumps that are risen bumps at all. So it'll be just completely flush, and that's the way your nut should be on, as far as I'm concerned, any guitar. Okay. That's the way I like them set up, because they perform better, they tune better, they stay in tune better. They're still going to fall out of tune no matter what I do, but that's just life. But having the strings above causes string roll, especially if you're playing hard. You can actually pop the string out of whatever it is sitting in for the slot, and that's not cool, okay? Because it can be very humiliating and embarrassing at the same time, especially if you're playing live. You need to keep the strings in the slot, okay? You don't ever cut slots into a saddle on an acoustic guitar. It's going to make its own natural grooves over time, and that's fine because that's what it's supposed to do. Okay, but don't sit in there trying to file them down to lower your action. That's not how you lower your action. You take the bloody saddle out, you take some 240 grit sandpaper, and you hold that thing dead straight as you possibly can, and you just slowly move it back and forth, and you lower it that way, and constantly checking, because you don't want to take off too much meat, or you're going to screw that saddle up, and you're going to have to make a new saddle, and that would suck. But I did have to adjust my saddle height and the nut depths in my Sigma, because 3 out of 6 slots were cut great, but the other 3 weren't. So that and the saddle had to be lowered. Otherwise, I couldn't even adjust the relief on the neck to lower it, because the action was so bloody high. Why didn't you get the shop to set it up properly to begin with? Because I don't trust shops. I trust myself. And I have the skill level to do it, so why not do it myself? And I also don't have to wait for God knows how long before they get it done. I do it, and I do it right now if I want, type of thing. Now, I've already done it, but that is the only acoustic guitar, by the way, to record, and I've owned lots of acoustics, okay? It's the only guitar I've ever had to adjust the nut depth or the saddle height in, ever. Okay, and it's a great guitar, and it plays beautiful, it sounds beautiful, okay, I love it, and it's just a wonderful guitar, and it's staying acoustic only. I'm never putting a pickup in it, all right? My other 2 acoustics, they have pickups right from the factory, and that's fine, but I wanted this guitar to not have it amplified, okay, and it's just a beautiful instrument, just the same way as what else would affect your sound of an acoustic guitar? Cutaway versus non-cutaway. Okay, so the cutaway guitars have a more unique sound than what a full dreadnought body would have. I actually prefer the sound of a cutaway. Okay, now some people claim, well, there's no difference in sound. Well, then you need to get your ears checked, because obviously you don't have a hearing range to hear anything. So you might want to get your ears checked, because there is a very noticeable difference. Even if you take a Takamine, for example, or a Martin, I don't care what friggin' brand it is, but take the exact same model, but one in a cutaway and one not in a cutaway, okay? But they're otherwise the same model, just one's missing a chunk of wood, right? You will hear the difference. It is night and day, okay? If you can't hear the difference, then your hearing is not very good, okay? And that's just a fact of life, and it's not meant as an insult, it's just the way it is, So, anyhow, Um, that's pretty much about what I got for you. And you can take it with a grain of salt. You can believe what I have to say, or you can not believe what I have to say. Makes no difference to me. You know, I'm not the one who has to worry about it. You know, I know that for a fact that guitars are not capable of holding precise tuning by any means for extended periods of time on the shelf, on a stand, in the case. You know, I know that, you know, every time I play my guitar, if I start playing a little too hard, you know, I'm going to slowly knock it out of tune. Pitch goes up or down on strings as playing, but it is definitely more noticeable on an electric than it will be on an acoustic, and that's a fact, whether you want to accept it or not. Same thing as, you know, breaking strings. You know, why are you breaking so many strings? Because your damn pick is too thick. You know, I like a thick pick though. Well, then learn to use it properly. How about that? Okay. Picks change the tone of your guitar. Okay. Thinner the pick, the more highs and mids come out, the less bass. Thicker pick, more bass, less mids, less highs. Okay. And you got to learn how to strum with those picks, or pick with those picks, depending on the thickness you use. Now, me personally, I have two pick choices. One of them, and they're both Jim Dunlop picks, and they're nylon, and I use a .38, and especially when I want to play really quiet and play exceedingly quick, okay, and then I have a .46 millimeter that I use for all my other stuff, including heavy metal type tones, you know, like playing, you know, some heavy metal, death metal stuff, hard rock, soft rock, you know, country, blues, doesn't matter. Every genre of music that I like to listen to and play, I can do it with that .46, and I will guarantee you I've never broken a string, okay, ever since I switched over. When I started taking lessons myself for many years, I used nothing but a .73, and I was constantly breaking strings. Even a friend of mine who plays guitar, and he's quite good as well, he was constantly breaking strings, and he sent his guitar away twice to the manufacturer, and both times come back, there's nothing wrong with the guitar. And so I talked to him, and I says, well, what are you using for a pick? And he told me, and I says, try a .46. I said, you'll never break a string again. Never has. So that speaks kind of volumes there. And you can still play the same exact music the same way, you know. And it's about pick placement in your fingers, you know. If you need more authority, you hold less stick out. If you need less authority, more stick out. It just depends on what you're playing, what you need. Now, I'm not saying a .46 is the end all be all, but for my purposes, and probably a lot of other people's, it'd be the perfect pick for all your general regular playing. And then if you want to be an insane, freaky, fast player, well, then take out the .38, and it's kind of cool and fun to mess with too. And I have an entire collection of picks. And the thickest pick I actually have used a couple of times, I'm still getting used to it, is a 51 or 0.51 mil. And it's different. It's a little stiffer, but you know, I'm getting used to it, and it has its purpose, and so far I haven't broken it. You know, or any strings. So that's kind of a good thing. But anyways, I'll leave you with that, guys. For those of you who enjoyed the video, awesome. If you didn't enjoy the video, well, you didn't. That's fine either way. You know, I can't make everybody happy, that's for sure. None of us can. You know, but I wanted to give you guys my best information and knowledge and experience, and hopefully it benefits a lot of you, and you've learned a lot from this. And hey, we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.